At least, realize that for those that survive, that the New World Order is real and that this really happened and that we really warned you. We were talking during the break about them not capping the pyramid in 2000 as they were openly worshiping what they called anti-beast or Animan, and you were just talking about that. It was on worldwide TV, fake fire shooting out of the ground, fireworks, huge horned demons marching on movie screens at the Giza Plateau, worldwide occultism. PBS carried it, open Lucifer worship on TV, and it was like I would mention it to people and no one even seemed to care. Michael Tsarion.
Well, exactly right. And people have to realize that these guys, on the highest level, you see, they operate based on an old stellar form of timing, based on ancient zodiacs. The whole concept of that when you do something, the timing has to be right. This I discovered in the context of Ireland when I was studying things like the various battles. I mean, the very fact that the Orange Parade happens, very close to midsummer, the midsummer solstice, just like your Bohemian Grove investigation pointed out that the dates are very important, the midsummer, the summer solstice. We have the same issue happening in Northern Ireland where the 12th of July parades are scheduled for the movement of the sun, to the center point there. The Black Preceptory, which is a very secret order behind the Orange Lodge, they have their ceremonies on July 13th. This ritualistic element is very, very important. People will notice that the declarations of war, whether it's March 17th, the Feast of Purim, you see, or any other date that comes about, is not random. It is not done by accident. And so the openings of this, the closings of that, the signing of the euro dollar, all the things that the MEPs do, or the people who control them do, is done based on ancient solar and stellar and lunar zodiacs. People have to understand this. It's based on ancient Masonic timings. We got to understand.
And by the way, that comes out in mainstream media that, Tony Blair every morning is possessed by the spirit of the light. He falls on the ground and convulses. He goes to the four corners of the earth to do weird rituals. Oh, and Ronald Reagan, everything he does is according to the astrology. And, this all comes out.
Exactly, and that's the reason why my life took me into those areas, to study these secret societies quite intimately, to definitely get into these occult areas, to find out what it is that they're up to. What are they doing? And then basically to pull back from the canvas and discover, my God, this is a worldwide ritual that involves many, many tentacles. But getting back to the point about this whole technotronic age, as I said, my work is dedicated to Jim Keith, and I want people to remember his name because he's one of the greatest American researchers you could imagine.
Do you believe he was murdered?
Absolutely, no doubt in my mind, and the people closest to him also speculate upon that.
Well, then his publisher died mysteriously right after he did.
Yes, exactly. And another friend of his, a co-researcher, was also mysteriously killed. So there's no doubt in my mind that they either, they took this guy out because he was so special. He had the ability and the charm to reach many, many people.
Well, he also got wide spectrum analysis.
Yeah.
I mean, he really got the big picture.
Well, remember, these guys were tied up. Jim had investigated Scientology and did a runner from it because he knew, my God, what the hell is going on here? And then tried to whistleblow that, and from there, went on to, like I did in my own way, to branch out and to find out about the world, the great global conspiracy. And his work is fundamental. His book, Mass Control, is an essential part of the DVD we're doing right now, about to release next month or very shortly. And this goes into his work. It's dedicated to his work, and people got to understand.
All right, stay there. We're going to break for 1 minute. Come back with the next hour of Michael Tsarion getting into this.
Thank you for listening to GCN.
All right, let me go ahead and talk to him now.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
And from there, went on to, like I did in my own way, to branch out and to find out about the world, the great global conspiracy. And his work is fundamental. His book, Mass Control, is an essential part of the DVD we're doing right now, about to release next month or very shortly. And this goes into his work. It's dedicated to his work, and people got to understand.
All right, stay there. We're going to break for 1 minute. Come back with the next hour of Michael Tsarion getting into this.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
In the near future, Earth is dominated by a powerful world government.
It's known as the Bilderberg Group. Could their objective be world domination?
For thousands of years, their dark order grew. Now, as they hail the birth of the New World Order, their great dream of exterminating 80% of humanity is at hand. For the first time in history, the elite's plan for world government is blown wide open. You will learn the secret that drives the entire New World Order agenda.
My websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, Infowars.net, PrisonPlanet.tv, JonesReport.com, TruthNews.us are some of the alternate auxiliary sites. They have some exclusive news that's only on those sites. But the big main sites that are updated 3 or 4 times a day are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Michael, I want to get into a little bit of positive news first. Then I want to get into the technological control grid, the enslavement grid, what your new film's about, that is the bad news, but knowing the enemy is half the battle. But you talk and speak a lot about the exponential awakening. And listen, I tend to underestimate how many people I reach individually, and I'm just one, little outpost in all of this. I don't overgauge myself, but really, it doesn't matter any guest I call up now, some engineer or Chuck Norris or some politician or somebody in another country, or I go to foreign countries. People all over the street come up to me now. I go to Honduras, or I go to England, or I go to Germany, or I go to some other part of the world. And just, I'm one little guy in all this. And now, take Austin, my center of operations. It's now where I'll be at the gym and 80% of the people in there come up and aren't just coming up saying hi. They're waking up, they're listening. And so I see with my own life an exponential explosion in people starting to understand there's more to the world than meets the eye or the mainstream media surface. And so it's exponential. So I see these two things that, the global enslavement grid coming head to head with a mass human awakening. Your comments on that?
Well, I agree with that totally. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing my work. It is one of the things everything you said is true for me as well. Wherever I go, the enormous amount of emails and feedback that I get, and even the negative reaction, at least that shows me that this juggernaut, as I said, the lights, must be blinding some people. That gives you the reverse understanding that, it must be happening, because look at even the reactions it's causing, even in a negative way, to people. You must know that by their threat, you can also tell, by their backlashing, you can tell, my God, our time has come. And I always describe it as being that people have to stay very optimistic what's happening. This can... I am not a person who ever believes that evil will ever triumph in the world, because just like nature abhors a vacuum, nature also abhors that which is evil. If you are evil, if you're operating from that mindset, you've actually just raised a red flag to the powers of nature to say, come and get me, wipe me out. And I also believe that we are in the time of the death throes of this kind of, sphere of activity, this kind of imperialism. It's bad, it's hot, yeah, they're up in our face. But as a matter of fact, I also believe, you see, that it's a situation in which these individuals, it's their dying days. They're in the last phase of the tyranny, and that, it's a situation that we're gonna overcome it. And it's just, I don't entertain any other idea at all, because I wouldn't be wasting my time on 5 minutes of any of this research if I didn't totally and utterly believe that good always triumphs over evil, and it will do, and that these people are evil. And my message is that we have to study the nature of evil. Yeah, a person can be good, but a person can also be good and stupid, or good and blind. The point is now that the awakening continues as we pass the torch from one person to the other. We get our arms around as much information as we can. We do not bicker because we have minute differences. We're all encamped here. I said this in one of my talks in Los Angeles. We all have our tents encamped upon the battlefield. We have a common enemy to fight. Let us not then bicker and fight amongst ourselves, which is exactly what the enemy on the other side of the valley wants us to do, and which is expert at creating situations in which we do this. We've got to understand the fifth columnists, the agent provocateurs, who come in to pit one side of the research community against another. That's why the internet is infested with these kinds of people, these so-called debunkers, these so-called swarmy, slimy, so-called internet assassins. I've often said that, behind every garbage can is a critic. Well, inside every garbage can is a debunker. And these people are the ones who are like the frozen deer, the toothless piranhas that are stifling.
Well, have you noticed they never give any proof either? We're saying we're waking up, we're positive, we're affecting truth. I know. But people who are really doing it are waking people up. They're involved. They're saying, let's work together. But the enemy will attack you and then say, oh, we should work together. Why aren't you working together? They never, it's just unbelievable. But it's not just conscious enemy operatives. There are a lot of just broken down, morbid, malfunctioning minds out there that, also have woken up to the New World Order, but still just thrash about attacking everyone. We're going to continue with Michael Tsarion. MichaelTsarion.com is his website. Stay with us. I'm going to skip this one, too. John.
Are you tired of hearing that
Yes, sir. I'm going to skip this break, too. Okay, Michael, we're going to skip this one, too, for the Internet-only audience. When we come back, let's get into the control grid and a lot more. But, yeah.
Well, you said you had an address?
Yeah, but we're on air. At the end of the show, I'll just give you my address, and I'd like to get your stuff, okay? And I got several addresses, and I don't want to give out my personal address on air.
Yeah, okay, not online, not on air, yeah.
Yeah, but, you bring up the debunkers, and just while we're on the Internet audience, it doesn't bother me that so many people attack me or manufacture all these things I've supposedly done, and I know they do that to you, I know. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
It's that I know that most of them actually aren't government agents. They are just products of the society, and it just blows me away where, here's an example.